Hi, I'm Angus Cress Gillespie, your host for Old Ways in New Jersey. We're here at the 41st Annual New Jersey Folk Festival, and it gives us an unusual opportunity because the 41st Annual New Jersey Folk Festival is focused on maritime customs and traditions. As a result, we reached out to Tuckerton Seaport, because Tuckerton Seaport is probably the very best place in New Jersey for maritime customs and traditions. And we're very lucky to have here in New Brunswick Paul Hart, who's the executive director of the Tuckerton Seaport, and he's going to take us around for a virtual tour of Tuckerton, even though we're in New Brunswick, to explain all these traditional craftspeople. So, Paul, I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. Right behind us is a sneak box. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about it and,
right.
and introduce Wayne.
I will. Okay. Welcome. This is a Barnegat Bay sneak box, and I'm going to turn you over to Wayne, who's going to demonstrate how and why it was designed for Barnegat Bay. Wayne, what's unique about the boat?
Well, it was invented in 1836, and the reason it was invented was the southern part of Barnegat Bay is extremely shallow, and this boat can float in about 4 inches of water, and that's why it came about, because it's used for duck hunting. The hunter would come out to the wetlands, he would put his decoys out, he would come back, he would lie down in the boat and wait for the ducks to come by. When they came down to meet and greet with the decoys, he would have dinner, or he would be able to send up some to Philadelphia restaurants. The boat itself is made of white cedar, not red. White cedar is light in weight, first of all, and then secondly, it can be bent without water or steam, and that's the main reason. It's also resistant to different insects, etc. It can be powered by oar, or by sail, or by a small engine, and that's, I don't know, what am I missing?
We build them today.
Well, we build them today at the Tuckerton Seaport, yes.
You can build one and purchase it, or you can help us build one and get the feeling about two boats were designed specifically for Barnegat Bay. The one is the Sneak Box, which was a hunting boat, and in 1918 they changed the hunting laws, so it became a sailboat, and they still sail them on the beaches off of Long Beach Island and Tom's River. Now, this is made out of cedar. We're going to walk over here to another craftsman. Skip Deckman is continuing the idea of crabbing. And Maryland thinks they're good with crabs, but the Barnegat Bay crabs are still good, very good.
We can get bigger crabs than they can.
All right, so we're doing that. And we did them bigger with bigger traps, and Skip's going to tell you about a little bit of how the difference of today's traps are from yesteryear and how similar they are.
Well, they're pretty much similar, because when you talk about yesteryear, to you and I, yesteryear was the 1920s. Right. All right, to the people today, yesteryear was in the 70s.
And they've been crabbing long before that.
Right.
Too.
But the vinyl wire has been around for a long time, so they've been using it. There's still some people that like the galvanized chicken style, which don't last as long. That's the only reason we use the vinyl, is because the longevity of it. All right. So this is a recreational trap. Here in New Jersey, this trap you don't need a license for. It's a 12 by 12 4-door. Right? You don't need a license for this. You can have as many as you want.
Well, let's put it on top and show how the 4 doors open.
All right, well, here's the way this thing works. This is your bait door up here. All right, you're going to open this, and that'll drop down, and you're going to put your bait in there. All right? Now, I did it the hard way because I didn't want to ruin the climax of this. All right, so you have your bait in that basket. You're going to take this, and you're obviously going to have a tag line that's going to go from here to your hand or your boat. So you drop it over the side. What's it do? It turns into 4 doors. 90% of the time, off of a boat or a bulkhead, you'll be able to see this trap. That's how shallow the water is you'll be in. So when you see a crab come in, and you got him. Crab souffle, right?
That's recreational,
This is recreation.
and you don't need a license.
Don't need a light. This is a commercial trap. All right. This trap here, you need a license, and in New Jersey, it's a $2 license. But under that license, you can only have 2 traps. All right. Remember this one here, without a license, you can have as many as you want. This one here, you can only have 2 traps in the water. This trap isn't quite complete, but this one, you open the door here. You open this panel. I can't reach around there, Paul. There we go.
Thank you.
And you're going to throw your moss bunker in here. You're going to put it in that tube. Now, I say moss bunker. Some people, especially around here, like chicken parts. Now, Rutgers University, some people know where that's at, all right? Rutgers University did a study a number of years ago and discovered that chicken fat doesn't dissolve in salt water, all right? So actually what it does is pollutes the bays. So that's why we use moss bunker, all right? So now you have your bait in here, and what's going to happen, let's walk around here. Is your crab's going to become aware of this bait in here through the oils it's secreting, and he's just going to come right in here, and he's going to start to eat. And we use a 1/2 inch by inch so he can't pull big chunks off of that fish to get out of there. He can only pull little chunks. Well, eventually he's going to get tired of eating. He's going to have other crabs coming in to push him out. He's going to swim up through this top piece. I don't know if you can see these teeth in here. He's going to swim up through there and land in this attic. Now they can't get out at all. Now we'll go to this one over here because this has the trap door. Now with this, whenever you want to get them out, you just, okay? Now in New Jersey, you have to have a biodegradable, what they call an environmental plate. So if you lose your trap, and that's known as a ghost trap, right, Paul? All right. So these traps get lost. Your line breaks, whatever. This trap's sitting in the bottom of the ocean or the bay. Anything that comes in here, and you'll get fish in there that'll swim in. We found them with flounder in them. They'll swim in there. If this is down there, those fish are going to die in there. Those crabs are going to die in there. These rings here are made out of a biodegradable material. And after 30 days, what happens is these things pop out. And when that pops out, this bungee springs this open,
And they can then
and
go
anything that's in there can come out. Right.
I'm going to introduce Jackie Stewart Wood, who is the director of the Jersey Shore Folklife Center, who really organizes all of our craftspeople and keeping the traditions of Barnegat Bay alive. And she's going to continue, and we're going to go to net mending next. How do you feel about, this is almost your 10th year of doing that, about keeping the Barnegat Bay traditions alive?
I think it's really important. People don't realize today what traditionally was done in our area. A lot of people come to the shore to vacation, but we want to introduce them to the people that really lived and worked in our region, talk to them about what was happening in the past and then what's happening now. So next we'll actually meet a commercial fisherman who is working in the Raritan Bay. He's one of only 2 people in New Jersey doing a particular type of fishing. And he was brought to the festival by a former commercial fisherman who is retired. So one of the things we like to do with the Jersey Shore Folklife Center at Tuckerton Seaport and with the Folk Festival here at Rutgers is introduce people to the past and then how that's continuing through to today.
Excellent.
So I'm here with a Folk Festival alum, Carl Tarnow. This is his 3rd time here at the Folk Festival. And in the 1960s, he was did a type of commercial fishing called pound fishing. And Carl has brought his friend Tom Schnorr, who is a current pound fisherman. So it's really interesting to be able to hear what was going on in the past up to what's happening now, because this type of fishing is not done too much, is it, Tom? You're one of the last people still pound fishing.
Yeah, just me and another guy. That's it. That's it. Out of hundreds.
What got you interested in pound fishing?
My grandfather. Mostly it was a family thing. I'm the 4th generation, so since a young child at 5, I was kind of hooked. And here I am today at 53, still doing it.
I love it. You were hooked on commercial fishing.
On commercial fishing, yeah.
Carl, can you explain to us what pound fishing is?
It's a series of poles set up in the bay with nets that the fish run into and get caught in a pocket, and then Tom goes in and gets them out.
Now, you've brought one of your models here today that shows you how those pound nets work. Can you tell us a little bit about how this works?
Sure, this is the leader here. This part heads in towards the beach. No matter how far offshore you are, it always heads towards the beach. Tide runs parallel with the beach. You drive the pound perpendicular to the beach. So the tide runs this way, ebb tide or flood tide, and the reverse tide runs the other way. Fish swim against the tide. When they swim against the tide and hit an obstacle, they tend to go offshore. So that's how this fish pound works. This leader is now way in here. Here comes a school of fish. The tide's running this way. They hit this net, they head offshore. They get in here and they start to realize they're getting penned up. So they get wild. They start trying to maybe even go backwards. So they would come here and you turn them right around, send them back out again. Now they're into what we call a little heart. They're getting penned in closer and closer. Then they go through the pocket mouth and go in the funnel. The funnel tapers down from the top, tapers up from the bottom, in from the sides. That's a little narrow opening, but once they get in here, then they'll just swim around in here until Tom goes in and gets the fish out.
So, Tom, you're fishing using no bait, just using nets strung in the bay on poles. What does it take to be a good pound fisherman?
Pretty much close up the holes so they can't get out because they're pretty slick. You know, there's places on the net where all this isn't one big piece of net. The big heart is one piece, the little heart is another piece. Like here would be called the joint. In my opinion, if you leave this open a little bit, the fish are going to get out there. They could get out right here a little bit. And I think they're curious pretty much on what it is how they're following it. And like Carl said, they get nervous as you pen them up. As they get tighter and tighter, they get nervous. And they see the funnel and they think that they're going to get away. They swim through the funnel and then they're caught.
Can you explain how you get them once they're in there?
When we pull up, usually daybreak, we'll pull up to this part of the net right here. I mean, everybody over the years has had their way to getting in, but we'll come in through this side, we'll drop this corner down, and on each one of these poles, there's an out hauler that holds the net down to the bottom. We'll release it all in a little boat. I send my man out, he goes around in the little boat, lets it all down. We turn this loose, we go inside, then we pull it back up again. You let the funnel go, and we grab the bottom of the net with things called lifting lines. We pull up the bottom of the net, and we keep working the fish back to the back of the net. We get them in a small area, and then we take them out with a thing called a bull net that's hooked up to our mast and a head that spins. You wrap the line around it. The guy sticks it down in. It has a tripper on the bottom. It's like a big crab net, like you would scoop crabs, like a big scoop net. And it has rings on the bottom with a purse line on it. And you just pull it tight, stick it in there, fill it up with fish, and when it gets over top of the boat, we spring it on a gaff, a boom. When it gets over top the middle of the boat, he trips it, the fish fall out, and you just keep doing that until you can take up to 24,000 pounds out at one time.
That is amazing. So if people are ever looking out in the bay off of Belford and they see some poles set up, now they know what those poles are.
The poles are, and
yeah.
We're in there getting their dinner for the night.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. Thank you so much, Carl. Now I'm here with Mary May from Forked River, and Mary is one of the last people still cutting down white oak trees and processing them into baskets, and she specializes in reproducing traditional South Jersey baskets. Mary, can you tell us why people made baskets?
People made baskets for traditional reasons. They made them to go into the market. They made them to take fish and carry them into the market. They also made all different shapes. Here's a great example of a market basket that you would go into the market and pick up your wares for the day.
So we were just talking with Carl and Tommy, who are pound fishermen. This is a basket that they would have used.
Yes. This is a poundfish basket, and Carl had given me an original poundfish basket, and I learned the measurements, the style, and how it was created, and I am able to recreate this basket now.
Now, Mary, why do you think it's important to still make traditional baskets?
Well, sadly, there really isn't anyone making the baskets. So I was able to go into my local historical society one day, and I realized we had beautiful examples of baskets. And I fell in love with the baskets. So I decided that I wanted to teach myself, and through teaching myself, I ended up falling in love with them, and now it's really grown into a passion and an everyday lifestyle for me. And now I go ahead and I remake the baskets, and I also show people how to make the baskets.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you take a tree and turn it into a basket?
Sure. What I would do is I fall a tree, I cut the tree down. I would like a tree, I call it dinner plate size, and a good run would be about as tall as I am to 6 foot tall. And what I do is I take the tree down. Now I have a long log. The log gets half, quartered, eighth, 16th, and then what I'll do is I'll bring it over to my shave horse, and the shave horse acts like a vise for me, and I slide the log piece under here. I would sit, and then I would be able to whittle it down into handles, rims, and splits. And a split is 1 year's growth. So I may take a 1 year's growth and I would use it as a weaver. I would take 2 or 3 years growth and I would turn it into a rim on a basket, and that's just that top binding piece. And then a handle would maybe be 5 growth rings wide.
So many children count the growth rings, see how old a tree is, but you look at those growth rings and you see parts of a basket.
I do, from the tree. If you look at a tree, and then I can weave it into a basket. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mary. All right, so earlier we saw Wayne building a sneak box, and sneak boxes were used in duck hunting, and Andrew Tennyson is a student at Stockton University, and he is continuing the tradition of making hunting decoys, wooden ducks that would have been used by hunters on their sneak boxes. So Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about what makes a 20-year-old man want to learn how to carve decoys?
Well, most 20-year-old kids don't want to do this. You know, they'd rather sit in front of their computer, but I started duck hunting when I was 10 and fell in love with decoys and the way they moved in the water and how the ducks interacted with them. So I told my dad, I was like, oh, well, I want to carve a decoy, and he gave me one of those typical dad answers. Oh yeah, next week. Well, after about 3 next weeks and me pestering him every day, he cut me out one and carved it up together and just fell in love with the art, and here I am.
Now, you were one of the first students to go through Tuckerton Seaport's Youth Carving Club program, and you are a winner at the Ward World Championships. You're an award-winning carver. Can you tell us a little bit about why people did these decoys and why you're still making them today?
Decoys weren't always an art form. They're actually a tool. We still use them today, to where ducks are you use decoys to put out in the water to attract other ducks. The style I carve is a Barnegat-based style. It's very simply painted. Nothing really fancy about them. Ducks aren't the brightest bulbs in the pack. You could shoot them over bleach bottles, but I think wooden decoys look a little bit better, and just nothing like the pride of shooting something over that you made. All right, well now I'm just trying to round the rump of the decoy. You know, just like people, ducks have round rumps too. So there's nothing square on a decoy. So when I go to the lumber mill, I get square lumber. So I put 2 pieces of square lumber together. What do I get? A bigger square. So now I got to take it from square to round. So I use this tool. It's called a spoke shave. It's basically like a plane with 2 handles attached to it. Takes all small chunks of wood, and it helps me shape the decoys as well as smooth it to the point where I'm happy. Every once in a while, take a time, check, make sure you're staying in the ballpark and where you want to be. Because just like me and you, ducks are symmetrical on either side. I mean, granted, not everybody's perfect. Same with a duck, but you want to make it pretty close if you can.
A more modern aspect of maritime culture is surf culture, and I'm here with Randy Budd, who is a surfboard maker. He makes wooden surfboards. Randy, I see you've got 2 different kinds of boards here. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
This is a traditional Hawaiian plank style board called the alaya. A lot of lore, a lot of history that we won't cover now, but this was the commoner's board the higher up in royalty or priesthood or whatever, you'd have a larger board. But this was a normal, this is what I would ride if I was an ancient Hawaiian, just a simple alaya. This one is a hollow board, also made of wood. It's a mix of Western red, Atlantic white, and Polonia. It'll get a vent eventually when it's done, so it can breathe and hopefully not ever have to drain water out of it, but that's always you never know. It's probably another 2 weeks away from being finished because of all the gluing and fitting and whatnot, but as you can see, a lot of clamps, a lot of time waiting for stuff to dry to move on.
What got you interested in making your own surfboards?
Just after surfing since 1973, it just gets a hold of you. You have to try at least once, and I did my one, and now I can't stop.
And you teach a very popular series of classes at the Tuckerton Seaport, so if people want to make their own alayas, they can. And I noticed under the alaya you have something smaller made out of wood. Can you show us what that is?
This is a finished hand plane. It's just a little different asymmetrical shape. You can't go wrong inside, outside, top, bottom. It's up to the rider. You would just have to get something like this and experiment. This is one I brought just in case I needed, more things to shape and keep things rolling. This is more of just a standard shape. And like I've been telling people off and on all day, the slot is an East Coast thing. The strap style is a West Coast because those on the West Coast insist that this creates too much drag. Like this is a giant sea anchor when it's not, but it's all good fun.
Now, how do your wooden boards ride out on the waves?
Perfectly, fine. The alaya is going to be a little bit slipperier because it has no fin, but the hollow boards, they're a different feel. They're a little bit more buoyant. Their flex ratio or whatever, springiness is a little different. But other than that, they still ride like a surfboard, really. And your cool factor goes way up with wood, that's for sure.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So there we have it. Those are just some of the wonderful traditional artists that we have at Tuckerton Seaport. We're so glad to be part of the 41st Annual New Jersey Folk Festival here at Rutgers. I want to thank Angus Gillespie, who put on this festival, and Paul Hart, who's the director of the Seaport, and all of the people that shared their stories today. We hope that you'll come visit us at the Tuckerton Seaport. To learn more, you can look for us on Facebook or visit our website at www.tuckertonseaport.org. Thank you.